20 arms strain under the base of a mountain, and the mountain begins to lift. On the summit, a god he has never heard of presses down with a single toe. The mountain slams back down, and the strongest being in all creation is pinned beneath it. He screams. The sound splits the night and rolls across every world. He does not know it yet. He will be down there for 1,000 years. Ravana. I bow to the one whose wild dance ends the worlds. And somewhere in those 1,000 years, the scream turns into the most beautiful song ever sung. They would call him Ravana, the one whose roar shook creation. This is how he earned the name. His name was Ravana, and he was not a brute. He was the most learned being of his age. He had mastered the 4 Vedas and the 6 philosophies, and written books the sages still studied. He could read the future in the turning of the stars, and he could sing. When Ravana sang, it was said the gods leaned closer to listen. His city was Lanka, a fortress of gold on an island in the southern sea. It had not always been his. He had taken it, and the flying chariot Pushpaka with it, from his own half-brother, because Ravana took. That was the simplest true thing about him, but strength alone did not make him what he became. Long before the throne, he had wanted something no sword could win. He wanted to be beyond death. So he did what almost no one in any age has had the will to do. He began a penance to the Creator himself. Years passed. He did not move. The fire never went out because he fed it with himself. And when penance alone was not enough, he offered the Creator the one thing he valued most, his own heads. One by one, he cut them off and gave them to the fire. 9 times he did this. Each time, a new head rose in its place. When he reached for the 10th, the sky finally opened. "Stop," the Creator said. "No one has ever wanted anything this much. Ask, and it is yours." And Ravana, 10 heads lifted, asked for the one thing he was sure would make him a god. "Make me proof against every being that could threaten me," he said. "Let no god kill me. Let no demon kill me. Let no spirit, no serpent, no celestial being in all the worlds ever bring me down." The Creator listened, and the Creator granted it. A seal of light settled over the king. He was, from that moment, beyond the reach of the gods. But listen to what he asked for, and listen to what he left out. He named gods. He named demons. He named every power he thought was worth fearing. He did not name men. He did not name animals. What man could threaten a being who had bent the Creator himself? It was the proudest mistake in the history of the 3 worlds. He would not see it for a lifetime. For now, the gap did not matter. Nothing could stand against him. And a being who cannot lose has only one thing left to do: conquer. He raised an army the worlds had never seen. He took the kingdoms of the earth first, almost as practice. Then he turned his eyes upward to the heavens themselves. No mortal had ever dared. He was not, by the letter of his boon, a mortal at all. So the king of Lanka went to war with heaven. The gods met him at the gates of the sky, certain they would win. They were wrong. Their weapons could not touch him. The Creator's seal turned every blow. One by one, the guardians of the directions fell. The god of the sea bowed. The god of wealth, his own brother, bowed. Even the king of the gods could not hold the gate. Ravana took the heavens the way he had taken everything, completely. He made the gods his servants. The fire god lit his lamps. The wind god cooled his halls. The sun and the moon were made to rise and set at his word. There was no one left above him in the 3 worlds. And that, for a being like Ravana, was a kind of danger no enemy could be. When you have beaten everyone, you begin to wonder if anyone was ever above you at all. He had heard a name, here and there, spoken with a fear he did not understand. A god who did not fight in the war, who did not come to the gate, who simply sat, somewhere in the north, on a white mountain. Shiva. Ravana did not bow to names he had not tested. So one evening he called for the Pushpaka and set its course for the north. He did not go to worship. He went to see whether this Shiva was truly above him. He was about to find the one being his boon had not protected him from. Not because Shiva was a god he had forgotten to name, but because Shiva was not something you defeat. He was something you surrender to. Ravana did not know that word yet. His chariot crossed worlds in a single thought. It had never once disobeyed him, until it reached the white mountain in the north, and stopped, not slowed, stopped, as if the sky itself had become a wall. "Move," Ravana said. The chariot that crossed worlds did not move an inch. Something on that mountain was greater than his will. Nothing in all his conquests had ever been. The mountain was Kailash, the home of Shiva. A wiser being would have understood the stopped chariot as a warning and turned around. Ravana understood it as an insult. He climbed. The air grew still. The light grew soft. The mountain did not want him there, and it let him feel it. And on the path above him, a figure was waiting. Small, patient, completely unafraid of the being who had conquered the sky. "Turn back," the guardian said. "This is the mountain of Lord Shiva. He is in meditation. No one passes." Ravana looked down at the small figure barring the path of a king who owned the heavens, and he laughed. "Who is this Shiva that I must go around him? And what are you, with a face like a monkey, to tell me where I may go?" Nandi was not a monkey, but the insult was spoken, and it could not be unspoken. And the gentle guardian, for the first and last time, grew terrible. "You mock a face like a monkey's," he said. "Then hear me, king of the worlds. One day, monkeys will come for you. Monkeys will cross an ocean no army has ever crossed. Monkeys will burn your golden city to the ground, and monkeys will end your line." Ravana had just been told, in plain words, exactly how he would die. He laughed at that too. "Monkeys," he said. "You threaten the conqueror of heaven with monkeys. On the last day of his life, an age from now, watching an army of monkeys cross the sea, he would remember this exact moment. Tonight, he was only angry. And anger in Ravana always became action. If the mountain would not let his chariot pass, then the mountain itself would move. "I will lift the ground this Shiva sits on," he said, "and throw it into the sea." It was the most arrogant sentence ever spoken in the three worlds. Nandi did not stop him. Some lessons cannot be told. They have to be felt. So Ravana walked down to the very roots of the mountain. He set his shoulders against the world. He slid his 20 arms beneath its roots, and the being who had never failed at anything began, slowly, to lift a mountain off the earth. Far above, in a chamber of light on the summit, someone felt the floor begin to tilt. On the summit lived Shiva and Parvati, in a stillness nothing had ever disturbed. Then the lamps began to rattle. Then the floor swayed like the deck of a ship. For the first time in an age, Parvati was afraid. "My lord," she said, "the mountain is moving." Shiva did not open his eyes. Below, Ravana heaved with the strength that had emptied heaven, and the roots of the mountain began to come away from the earth. Stones the size of temples broke loose and fell past him. The white peak tilted against the stars. Higher, Ravana roared. Higher, and the home of the gods rose into the air. In all three worlds, in that moment, only one being was not afraid. Parvati clung to him as the chamber rose into the sky. "Do something," she said. And Shiva, without standing, without opening both eyes, without reaching for a single weapon, did the smallest thing a god has ever done. He pressed down, with the big toe of one foot. That was all. One toe, and the mountain that 20 arms had torn from the earth stopped rising. Then it began, gently, to come back down, slowly, without hurry, without anger, and Ravana's 20 arms were still beneath it. The weight of the whole mountain of God came down onto the hands of the king of the worlds. There was a sound like the world cracking, and then there was the scream. The being who had never known pain learned all of it in a single instant. He pulled. The mountain did not move. He heaved with all 20 arms, with the strength that had conquered the sky. The mountain did not move. The boon that made him proof against every god could not lift one toe of this one. He called on his army, They could not come. He called on the gods he had enslaved. They did not answer. No god came to help him. He had made servants of them all, and a servant does not save a master from a god. His scream rolled out across the worlds and did not stop. In Lanka, they heard it. In the heavens, they heard it. The whole creation heard the king of the worlds scream. On the summit, Parvati looked down at the trapped king, and something in her softened. Shiva said nothing. He had not done it in anger. He had simply set the world back where it belonged. And the days began to pass. Then the months, then the years. Snow buried his shoulders and melted off them and buried them again. His crowns dulled. His silks rotted. His roar wore down to a hoarse and endless cry. And still the mountain did not move. 100 years, then 500. A king who had owned the heavens, alone in the dark under a stone, for longer than empires last. And somewhere in those 1,000 years, in the dark, something in him began to change. At first, for 100 years, it was only rage. He cursed the mountain, he cursed the guardian, he cursed the god who would not even look at him. But rage needs an audience, and no one was listening. So the rage wore thin, and under it he found, for the first time, a question. What is this thing I'm trapped beneath? Not a rock. He had thrown rocks. He had thrown mountains. This was something that held all his strength under a single toe, the way a child holds a moth in a cupped hand, a god so far above him that his whole life of conquest meant nothing at all. And here is the strange thing. That realization did not crush him further. It set something in him free. All his life he had needed to be the greatest. To be above everyone, it had never once made him happy. And now, for the first time, there was someone above him. And it did not feel like defeat. It felt like rest. The greatest scholar of the age understood finally the one thing his books had never taught him. That there is something sweeter than winning. There is surrender to something greater than yourself. And the proudest being who ever lived decided to do the only thing he had never done. He would not fight the god. He would praise him. But a king pinned in the dark has no temple, no offering, no instrument. He had only his voice. And his voice, after 1,000 years of screaming, was almost gone. So he gave the one thing he had left to give, the same currency he had always paid in. Himself. He took a tendon from his own arm and a length of his own bone, and he made an instrument. A vina, built from his own body, in the dark, under a mountain. And the greatest singer of the age drew the first note. It was thin. It was cracked. It was the most honest sound he had ever made. And then he began to sing. He composed a hymn to the god who had crushed him. I bow to the one whose matted hair holds the river of the sky. I bow to the one whose throat is blue with the poison he drank to save the worlds. I bow to the one whose dance ends all things and begins them again. It was the most beautiful song of praise the worlds had ever heard. And we still sing it today. The proudest being alive wrote it from the bottom of a mountain with nothing left to gain. Year after year, the hymn poured up the mountain. It crossed the worlds the way his scream once had. But now the worlds leaned closer to listen. On the summit, Parvati turned to her lord, tears on her face. He has changed, she said. And at last, after 1,000 years, the god who could not be moved by strength was moved by a song. Because this is the secret of Shiva, that Ravana paid 1,000 years to learn. You cannot defeat him with power. The strongest being who ever lived tried and lost 1,000 years. You cannot bargain with him. You cannot outpray him with penance alone. He is the easily pleased. He asks for one thing only, the heart. And no heart had ever sung to him like this one, with nothing left to want. So Shiva lifted his toe. The weight rose, the mountain settled, and the arms that had been pinned for 1,000 years came free. Ravana did not run, he did not curse. He crawled out into the light, and he knelt. The being who had bowed to no one in all three worlds bowed now, completely, for the first time, and Shiva came down to him. He was not angry. After 1,000 years, he was pleased. "You tried to move me with your arms," Shiva said, "and you could not. Then you moved me with a song, and to the proudest being who ever lived, the god of destruction gave gifts. He gave him a sword, unbreakable, bright as a sliver of the moon. Chandra has. And then he gave him something that would outlast the sword, the kingdom, the boon, all of it. He gave him a name. For 10,000 years, creation will remember the roar that shook every corner of the worlds. You will be called Ravana, the one who made the universe scream. He had been a king with no name worth keeping. He left the mountain with the name we still use, and he earned it, not from a throne he took, but from a mountain that broke him, and the song he sang anyway. From that day, the conqueror of heaven was the greatest devotee of Shiva who ever lived. Every day after, he sang the song he had composed under the mountain. His pride did not save him. His strength did not save him. His surrender did. And the curse on the path, it was still waiting for him, an age away. One day the monkeys would come. One day the golden city would burn. One day a single arrow would end his line, because even a devotee answers for what he does. Surrender to Shiva did not erase the man he had been. But that is a different story, and a sadder one. This one ends on a mountain, with a king who tried to throw a god into the sea, and instead learned to move a god with a song. The scream became a hymn, and the hymn became his name.